Folks, this is Dr. Brian King, once again on the road, this time coming to you from Montreal, Quebec. And I'm here with my co-host, Miss Sarah Bollinger. How are you, Sarah?
Bastante bien, y estamos acá en Montreal, como dijo Brian. ¿Y por qué estoy hablando en español? Porque hoy tenemos a alguien con nosotros que se llama Mariana Ramírez, es de Mexico City, de DF.
Can we get that in English? For the listeners that speak that don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, welcome to Montreal, and today we're here in Montreal with a friend from Mexico City, is visiting like us too, and her name is Mariana Ramírez. Wow.
I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. Blues, women, and blues. I'm here, I'm there.
Mariana, how are you?
I'm really happy to be here. Sarah, your Spanish is awesome.
I wish my French was that good.
I know. We both speak a little Spanish, although she speaks more Spanish than I do. But we don't speak any French. So you're up here from Mexico City.
Yes.
What are you doing here, first of all?
That's a great question, and my boss and my mom would be wondering the same. I wanted to be a comedian, and I wanted to make it big, and I wanted to come to just relax.
Oh, okay,
awesome.
okay.
And I wanted to see first. I wanted to try to. I'm a big volunteering for just relax, and also like I wanted to come see friends that I already met. I was also studying English because I want to be a better teacher. I'm a teacher. I teach English in Ecatepec. And yeah, I mean, I'm spending these 2-3 weeks to do all of this.
Oh. So you're a comedian, and I think that's really awesome of you, actually, that you came up for Just for Laughs. How long have you been doing comedy?
I started producing and being on stage at the same time. That happened on October 11, 2020.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right after COVID. Like when I was in COVID, I took an online workshop with different people there was a guy from Argentina,
Oh, yeah?
a guy from Canada, like everything's connected. Everything's making sense. Guys from Mexico City from many different parts. And then I was like, hey guys, we should do something together. And that's when I produced my first show, and I was on stage at the same.
Interesting. You're like maybe the third or fourth comedian that we've interviewed recently who got their start during the pandemic. You know, did you just have some free time, and then you were like, well, I always wanted to be a comedian, let me give it a shot, or was it?
In my case, it was because I had a very steady life, like nothing was going on, like I just knew how to do my job, and I knew that I could have like a good routine every day, but I wanted something else. I wanted to create something which I didn't know exactly what it was, until I discovered myself that I wanted to be funny in that specific way. That's when I was like, yeah, I have more time, and I can actually afford having the time actually to do it, because I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
That's what.
Oh, very good. Do you perform mostly in Spanish or English?
Nowadays, mostly English.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it might be a little surprising because Mexico is not an English-speaking country, but the city.
Well, Mexico City has a lot of English speakers.
That's right. That's right. It's become more popular, and there are a lot of people visiting from many parts of the world, and I love it because we have something called Funny Friends Friday. It's the weekly show that we have. And sometimes I said, we have a UN audience. Because in the same table, you can have people from Japan, from Korea, from Brazil, from India, from like many different places.
Yeah.
And having them in the same room in Mexico City and laughing about the same stuff. It's just...
And so then are they mostly performing in English as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I bet there's some interesting takes on the different cultural aspects of English language as well.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that'd be an interesting mix.
Yes, it's totally different, and it's also crazy because it doesn't matter where you're from. Like everybody has a mother and father. Like
right.
Well, it depends on who you are.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Sometimes in Spanish we say "no tiene madre," but some people make or relationships or
certain things. We're pretty
that international, and that they can come across with those kind of jokes, and it feels nice.
Yeah, I've never performed in Mexico. Hopefully we'll get down there pretty soon. Our travels have taken us elsewhere. So you're in Montreal. That's pretty wild. I honestly, when I encountered you, I wasn't expecting to encounter like a Mexican national comedian in Montreal. I would imagine it's probably kind of difficult to travel up here.
I think it depends. I'm a very stubborn person, and if somebody told me that I couldn't do it, it's like, why the hell? You're not gonna tell me what can I do or not. There's nothing can like. What is it gonna stop me? And I know that it might be like weird. Like, why do you want to do comedy in a country that isn't yours, in a language that isn't yours? But there are a lot of reasons. Like somebody told me, and not somebody, society has told me that a person like me wouldn't participate in this kind of environments.
Well, I mean, I think maybe you have felt here, from your time being here, what we felt and drew us to Montreal is the fact that Montreal is so supportive of the arts of all kinds.
Yeah.
And in this case, you know, comedy has drawn you, and it makes sense.
I mean, it's the largest comedy festival in the world. It's humbling, really.
Yes.
Because there's nothing like this in America, and I don't know about Mexico, but there's probably nothing like JFL in Mexico. No. I was trying to lead you in a direction, because we were talking a little bit before the podcast about sort of upward mobility. And I think that's where I was getting at when I was talking about you being here. Tell me a little bit about what you were getting at with that.
Okay, so I was born in Mexico City, but then I lived 20 years in Estado de Mexico, which is a state, like it's holding it, like it's in the suburb area next to Mexico City. It's like around...
It's like the countryside around Mexico City.
But it's not that countryside. It's still like a city-ish.
Okay.
But it doesn't have as many opportunities, as many cultural offers, as many job offers. And it takes me like 2 hours to 1 hour 30 to go back to every place. And one of the things that I wanted to do when I was a child was like, I knew that I didn't want to live there for the rest of my life. I knew that I wanted to find better opportunities and better chances, not only like economically, but if you wanted to go to a play, it would be difficult. If you wanted to see theater, if you wanted to see comedy, there's no comedy like near there, or you might make it like once a month, and with comedians, like very new comedians, and it's kind of difficult to find this kind of offers. And I knew that if I wanted to do something, I had to do a different thing. And that's how I started to learn English.
Oh, you started to learn English because of that?
Because I knew that I wanted to do something different. And travel and find better and different things. And I did not also wanted to do that for myself, because I felt when I reached the highest level, I wanted to share that with other people.
Okay.
And that's how I became a teacher.
When you're back home, your full-time occupation, you're a teacher.
Part-time.
Oh, part-time occupation. And do you teach English?
Yes.
Okay.
I teach English as a second language in a public university in Ecatepec.
What is it?
Ecatepec.
Ecatepec?
Yes.
It's like a suburb? Or?
This part of the Estado de Mexico.
Okay.
And there's a lot of... it was known for being the most violent zone of Mexico.
Oh, nice. So you're in like the rough part of Mexico.
But I mean, if I survive 20 years of my life, then I can survive anything.
Yeah. You can even survive Montreal.
Yeah.
This city is so nice, and it's a wonderful place. You know, it really is. It must be like a whole different world coming from Mexico City. You know,
totally. I feel very like, I don't know if many people could relate to this, but coming from Mexico and to this like first world country, I feel very jealous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, why can't we have this nice, just the public transportation to know where it's gonna come, and not wait until like the person in charge feels like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Just like, you know.
Is this the first time you've been to Canada?
No, that's the third one. I was in Vancouver. The very first time I traveled internationally was to Vancouver. And the second time was because I wanted to see the friends and family I made the first time. And this is the third one.
Nice, okay.
I couldn't close my eyes. I just wanted to see more and more to understand. But it wasn't like understanding, but to feel like I was trying to capture everything that I could, because I was totally like a fish out of water. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It was it was frightening and beautiful at the same time.
Huh.
I mean, not frightening in a way that I would be in danger, but like, wow, it's too much. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to discover, like, and a lot of things that comes with a lot of people and different opinions and diversity in so many things. It's just beautiful.
Wow, that's really cool.
At that time, I was not even interested in that. Like, not interested. Like, I always like stand-up ever since I discovered it, but like, it wasn't my intention to be a comedian.
So that was before you were studying English?
No, that's when I that's after I became a teacher. That was
okay. Got it.
Because I told my parents, like, I want to teach English, but how am I going to teach something that I haven't tried myself? That's why I came.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. You ever traveled the States?
Yes, once.
Where to?
Oregon. As a teacher, I got a chance to be part of a summer program for English teachers, and it was an amazing adventure. Mm-hmm. I have a couple jokes about that experience. I love it.
Can we hear them?
No.
Gotta wait for the Netflix. Yeah, you gotta wait for the Netflix special.
It's totally worth it.
Oh man, now I really want to hear it.
When we book you for Mexico City, you will be part
I
of
will
the.
do. I will do the Oregon jokes.
Opening for you.
Excellent. I will do the Oregon jokes. Yeah, I think your story is very compelling and interesting. And I'm very happy that you found this avenue to be able to achieve more with your life and travel and see some other cultures. Because as a traveler of Mexico, I will meet people that I know that they're never gonna see what the rest of the world is like. You know what I mean? Like, they're never gonna get out of their Michoacan or whatever it is, you know. And as an American, I have a privilege of being able to travel pretty much anywhere in the world, you know. And it's, you know, when I travel to visit you in your home, and I know that you can't come visit me, that's a weird thing, you know. It's really nice to hear your story about how you wanted to achieve this and you've been able to, and I really appreciate that. But I am a little interested in the comedy scene in Mexico because I you know, as a comedian, I want to know what it's like all over the world, and I've never done it down there. So what's it like down there to do comedy?
There are very famous Mexican comedians. They already have their Netflix specials. They started doing on other platforms and stuff, but they're already there. Like, they wouldn't see, like, what's next for the rest of us. They're just like, they are opening the spaces, and they're doing a great job, like, being, well, actually, Carlos Vallarta, one Mexican comedian, is doing set in Spanish for Just for Laughs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Are you working that show?
I hope so. I don't know. I don't know yet, but he also lives in Estado de Mexico. Estado de Mexico does something really bad to you, I guess.
Well, it's like how all the good artists come from, like, the hood of New York. The difficult life breeds talent.
Resilience and talent.
Yeah. It says, like, bad, or I don't remember. There was a saying, but I'm not gonna say it correctly, so it's more. So I think they're already there, but there's still a lot of work that we've been doing, that there's still a lot of people that needs to be heard. And I don't know if that happened to American culture. I don't think so. But Mexicans, we say, like, the red jokes.
The red jokes?
Yes, I don't know if there's a translation for that, but like spicy comedy.
Oh, okay. Like, we consider that to be like working blue jokes, blue material.
I knew it was a color. But we also have albur. So there's like a mix of different styles of comedy, like from ancient or like old. Not mature, but old styles, and like recent people just want to talk about the difference between soap and soup.
Soap and soup. All right.
yeah, just like or like the supermarket or dogs or things that are more.
Now I kind of want to come up with a bit about soap versus soup.
It will work as a gringo.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sopa versus I forget soup. How do you say soup?
Sopa jabón, sopa y jabón.
Oh yeah, see that's so similar. Yeah.
They do actually. That bit is mine. I accidentally ate soap.
What?
Yeah.
Did you read the menu wrong?
No, I was taking a shower and I accidentally put my hands on my mouth and I ate it. I couldn't speak for a week.
So one thing you mentioned earlier with regards to social mobility is that you said that you felt like you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
What exactly do you mean by that?
As a woman my age from Estado de Mexico that lived in that area, it is not common to have this level of education. It is not common to have this level of language skills. It is not common to have the kind of job that I have and being able to live and try, and not try, but I'm creating like this space for doing comedy. My part-time job in the morning is being a teacher, and the other part-time job is being a producer. Because I run the shows in English and Spanish, and we do all other kind of things that have to do with that same thing. And if I didn't study what I wanted, if I were still living there, then my life would have been really completely different.
Awesome.
At this age, I would have been divorced with kids, with no men, of course, like probably like not a professional type of work, but doing just like other, I don't know, like blue collar stuff. And that's why I think I am the only person, at least in the English comedy scene, with this kind of background. Because the other Mexicans, there are people who have better opportunities. I mean, one of my best friends, he studied and worked in the US, so his English is awesome. Another person, yeah, they got more chances to, like, access to private education. I never studied in a private school. And it was just public education and my motivation to be out of that. And, but yes, they have more chances. I'm not a white heterosexual man. I'm a brown, not hegemonic.
See, I had no idea. You're not supposed to ask those kind of things nowadays. You know, I can't assume that you're not a white heterosexual male. You know, but I don't know how maybe that's how you identify. I don't know.
I wish I could identify.
That being said, how is it to produce in Mexico?
It's difficult sometimes because it's extreme. Like the comedy scene in Mexico is still a very misogynist.
Right, that's what I was saying.
Very misogynist. And every single time, I mean, I'm not alone anymore because I have Alan, which is our production assistant, and Martin, which is my co-producer, and they're like, "Hi guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for your help." And we do have an open mic on Mondays, for Spanish. And the production company is called Funny Girl Productions.
Nice.
They will still ask them, where's the list? What's the order? Who's the host?
Wow.
It's like, I'm literally here. Like, you saw me that this. But they will still do that. Like, even though it's a very small thing, they still like, but he's the one who runs it. But the name is Funny Girl.
Yeah, it's Funny Girl. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, and also there's some people who are very open to it, and they just, I don't care if you're a man or a woman or whatever you identify with. Just, are you funny? Are you making people feel comfortable and laugh on stage? Which is something I will definitely go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some other people would be like, or sometimes, how many followers do you have? Who do you know? And that's like easier to get to. Are you funny? I don't care. You have
it's like the modern day version of the greasing palms of who you know in Hollywood, but
And I have seen a tremendous quantity of shows like that. But if you're funny, we haven't seen you, and let me see like what kind of things you want to do. Let me give you 5 minutes. If we like it, we can give you more time, and we're very welcome. Like we enlarge our group of English-speaking comedians, and it's people that they never thought they were gonna do it, and then it's a regular thing to do it. Your schedule. On Wednesdays we do the open mics, Saturdays we do the workshops, and Fridays we have the show.
But why English shows?
Why not?
Because you're in Mexico.
I know. But if I wanted to talk about, let me tell you something. I knew that I didn't belong to the place that I was until I started to do comedy. Because I like sitcoms, I like different kind of music, I like to share different stuff. And my friends from university or my neighbors would never, the office that you go to work to, or like friends. Yes, we are friends. Like no, they wouldn't know what I was talking about because I like American television. I like American music. I like to read different things, and they wouldn't be.
You definitely like Star Wars.
Of course. Could you tell?
Well, America does, if we do one thing really well, it's that we produce really good entertainment. It's interesting to think about that, the impact that all this American entertainment is having on local communities, like where you want to perform in English instead of, your native language.
Interesting. It's almost as if the American dream has been instilled.
Yeah. And actually I have kind of a joke about it. Like being from Mexico, like Estado de Mexico, I didn't want to cross the border to go to the US. I just wanted to cross the America Pachuca carretera to go to Mexico City because that's where all the cool stuff is. Like and got to see, like I wanted to have friends from with different opinions and different situations. Like the very first night I was in an after party after a show and we started talking about UFOs. I was like, this is my people.
Yeah.
It was weird shit about UFOs.
Yeah.
But that's when like, I want to do this. There are some things that you cannot say in Spanish. And the way you speak, the way you change, the way you think, the kind of people that you are with drives you to different levels. There are some people that would never have the chance to be exposed to albur. For example, Martin doesn't know albur at all. But he feels very comfortable doing jokes in English. And he's great. There's another one of my friends. She dated a lot of foreigners, and she has this experience. It's something that if I tell Conchita from my neighborhood, she has only dated Juan and Jose, not relatable at all. But she had this other, or there's another guy. He actually lived in Montreal, and having this experience, I think something that we all share, even though it's like Mexicans and internationals, is that we like to travel. And also, actually, that's the name of the place where we have our show. It's called Café del Viajero.
Nice.
Awesome.
Travel.
Yeah, we'll have to pop in. Now I really want to get to my family in Mexico City.
Yeah, just like, there's audience. There's two types of audience. Let me share about this real quick. One is the international travelers that are like, hey, maybe I'm not in the mood for lucha libre. I'm in the mood for
How can you not be in the mood for lucha libre?
Have you been there?
If you could get a wrestler to do jokes in between the sets, that would be the best form of entertainment.
There was a wrestler who hosted a couple open mics.
Did he really?
Yes, in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
In Spanish, though, but we see what we can do. But there's this type of audience, and we're like, I'm traveling, and there's like chill night or a pre-game.
Yeah.
Among like young people, it's like a pre-game because the show starts at 8:30. So after the show, like 9:30, they go to drink. And there's also Mexicans with this, where it's like an aspirational situation. Like, are you capable enough to learn to understand a joke in another language? Then you are high level, and you are an advanced level, and that's why honestly something that I wish my students would do sometime to understand joke.
Take them out to it, so you can take your students to an open mic.
Actually, that's something that I've been trying to do. I'm assigned just to basic levels because I'm a great teacher. Honestly, I'm a great teacher. Like I can make somebody that didn't like English to understand it and actually use it. I love being a teacher. I would never change that again. And I tried to do that because one of my coordinators told me once, "This is gonna be so sad, but you might be the only connection they may have to a different world, as you said, to a different. Some of them will never be able to afford traveling, but they know me. They know a person who went to Japan. They know a person who's been to the States. They know a person who knows a person who can do this, and whatever they want." And I was telling them, encouraging. I took them to Coyoacán, I took them to Chapultepec, I took them to Las Pirámides to see whatever they can get to see.
Yeah. No, and language is so empowering.
Yes.
I always say it's probably one of the best things in my life I've ever done is learn another language.
Yeah. It helps. Are you listening to me? It helps. Please. Yes, but I really like it. I really love being a teacher. Because I know that it's not only like just to use the language, it's also inspiring. I try to tell this to them every time. I like, hey, I was born in this, well, I was raised in this little apartment near the ghetto, near the place where they used to sell drugs, and I made it fucking here, and I'm still not done with all the plans that I have for me and you, so please just try to use it as much as you can. Because, and it's not even for the money, it's I'm doing what makes me happy and free. Without like, are you gonna tell me that I can't do this? I'm not sure about that.
Talking about languages, what about French? We're here in Montreal. Most of JFL is going to be in French. I mean, what about French?
First of all, I'm so glad that Carlos is going to do a Spanish show. Second, I feel that let me try to elaborate on this because this is exactly how I feel. When I was 8 years old, I went to an amusement park with my mom, and she didn't want to come up to the game with me, so it was just me in the line with other like girls, and they weren't from here. They were speaking English. I'm pretty sure they were speaking English, and they were speaking about me, and I didn't understand anything. I mean, I was because the look they gave me, and it was clear they were clearly talking about me, but I didn't understand it, and that was like, oh, I don't want to experience this anymore. So when I came here, it's exactly the same feeling I had, because the entire city is speaking a language that I don't understand, and I feel that like this little 8-year-old girl that is being like, I know they're speaking French, I know they're speaking about that specific thing, but I don't understand it. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel.
We want to learn French. Sarah was commenting that this week she's heard a lot more Spanish than
I've heard a lot more English and a lot more Spanish this week, and I've had a couple conversations in Spanish, one at the market, at another grocery store. The man spoke French and Spanish. I only speak English and Spanish, so there we go. We met in the middle. Yeah.
Another thing, and something very common that every student has ever told me is, I understand, but I don't speak.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel exactly the same. Like, if I hear French, I was like, yes, they're talking about this because they use this whatever structure or word. Mm-hmm. But if I want to say like, because I need it.
Right.
That's also a very humbling experience as a teacher. Because I can remember, and I could be like more sympathetic with my students when they're struggling with the language. Yes, I understand how you feel. Like I could see if I can do something about it.
How long did you study English before you became a master speaker?
Not yet. Just because I love speaking. But I started learning when I was 12 years old.
And what about comedy?
Being able to have a microphone and be able to speak yourself out in front of an audience that can actually, and they want to actually listen to you, is both a big responsibility and a big power. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it as a responsibility, then you'll have to think about the things that you want to say, mm-hmm. and also about how you want to make the people feel. And I want to give them enjoy, and I want to give them something to laugh, and I want to give them something that you can talk about after the show. And it's also a big power because it gives you the chance to be creative. It gives you the chance to speak yourself about your opinions and about your background, and then showing who you are through the things you say and how you say it. So I think I'm enjoying both the power and the responsibility of doing comedy.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and I also really appreciate everything you've said so far about your class mobility, your being a woman in a male-dominated world, and the difficulties you face, and I think that you're adding a valuable voice to the comedic landscape. So I appreciate that, I really do. What's the future like for you?
I'm so excited about doing the production back at home, keep doing comedy. I've been writing a lot because Montreal has a lot to do and to see, and people and great experiences. Meeting you guys has been great as well, and I think taking all of this and putting it into work to write, and of course continue doing more and better comedy.
I just wanted to comment that it's incredibly refreshing to have somebody who speaks about the responsibility of art and not just, you immediately spoke of your own voice, which is fantastic, but very few people speak about the responsibility.
And if people want to learn more about you or find you on the internet, how can they find you?
I have a Facebook page. It's called Teacher Mariana because I'm a teacher and that's my name. But you can find me on Instagram at teacher __, so __ Mariana. And it's a picture of me and Steve Aoki throwing me a cake because I love him. And there are also, please follow Funny Girl Productions on Instagram and Facebook. And that's where we have the shows in English and Spanish, and especially in Mexico City so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, well, thank you, Mariana. I really appreciate you meeting with us and talking with us. And Sarah, of course, thank you so much for being my awesome co-host. And then host, I think I just said, which is weird. I'm slurring. I'm not even drunk. And thank you guys for watching and listening. And folks, this has been another episode of On the Road with Dr. Brian. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. Blues, women, and blues. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere.